more how I will be using the technology that is currently being developed.
That's exactly right. I think the reason why you feel that way is the last 10 years was really about the science of AI. The next 10 years, we're going to have plenty of science of AI, but the next 10 years is going to be the application science of AI, the fundamental science versus the application science. And so the applied research, the application side of AI now becomes, how can I apply AI to digital biology? How can I apply AI to climate technology? How can I apply AI to agriculture, to fishery, to robotics, to transportation, optimizing logistics? How can I apply AI to, teaching? How do I apply AI to, podcasting, right? And so.
Why did it take a decade? And also, because you had placed those bets, what did the middle of that decade feel like for you?
Well, that's a good question. It probably felt like today. To me, there's always some problem, and then there's some reason to be impatient. There's always some reason to be happy about where you are, and there's always many reasons to carry on. And so I think, as I was reflecting a second ago, that sounds like this morning.
Yeah.
And so, but I would say that in all things that we pursue, first you have to have core beliefs. You have to reason from your best principles, and ideally you're reasoning from principles of either physics or deep understanding of the industry or deep understanding of the science, wherever you're reasoning from. You reason from first principles, and at some point you have to believe something. And if those principles don't change and the assumptions don't change, then there's no reason to change your core beliefs. And then along the way, there's always some evidence of success and that you're leading in the right direction. And sometimes you go a long time without evidence of success, and you might have to course correct a little, but the evidence comes, and if you feel like you're going in the right direction, we just keep on going. The question of why did we stay so committed for so long, the answer is actually the opposite. There was no reason to not be committed because we believed it. And I've believed in NVIDIA for 30 plus years, and I'm still here working every single day, and there's no fundamental reason for me to change my belief system. And I fundamentally believe that the work we're doing in revolutionizing computing is as true today, even more true today than it was before. And so we'll stick with it, until otherwise. There's, of course, very difficult times along the way. When you're investing in something and nobody else believes in it and costs a lot of money, and maybe investors or others would rather you just keep the profit or whatever it is, improve the share price or whatever it is. But you have to believe in your future. You have to invest in yourself, and we believed it so deeply that we invested tens of billions of dollars before it really happened. And it was 10 long years, but it was fun along the way.
What are the bets that you're making now? We're going to be right on
Omniverse. The latest bet, of course, we just described at the CES, and I'm very, very proud of it, and I'm very excited about it, is the fusion of Omniverse and Cosmos, so that we have this new type of generative world generation system, this multiverse generation system. I think that's going to be profoundly important in the future of robotics and physical systems. Of course, the work that we're doing with humanoid robots, developing the tooling systems and the training systems and the human demonstration systems and all of this stuff that you've already mentioned, we're just seeing the beginnings of that work. And I think the next 5 years are going to be very interesting in the world of humanoid robotics. Of course, the work that we're doing in digital biology, so that we can understand the language of molecules and understand the language of cells, and just as we understand the language of physics and the physical world, we'd like to understand the language of the human body and understand the language of biology. And so if we can learn that and we can predict it, then all of a sudden our ability to have a digital twin of the human is plausible. And so I'm very excited about that work. I love the work that we're doing in climate science and be able to, from weather predictions, understand and predict the high resolution regional climates, the weather patterns within a kilometer above your head, that we can somehow predict that with great accuracy. Its implications is really quite profound. And so the number of things that we're working on is really cool. You know, we're fortunate that we've created this instrument that is a time machine, and we need time machines in all of these areas that we just talked about, so that we can see the future. And if we could see the future and we can predict the future, then we have a better chance of making that future the best version of it. And that's the reason why scientists want to predict the future. That's the reason why we try to predict the future in everything that we try to design, so that we can optimize for the best version.
People actually interacting with this technology in the near future.
Cleo, everything that moves will be robotic someday, and it will be soon. You know, the idea that we'll be pushing around a lawnmower is already kind of silly. You know, maybe people do it because it's fun, but there's no need to. And every car is going to be robotic. Humanoid robots, the technology necessary to make it possible is just around the corner. And so everything that moves will be robotic. And they'll learn how to be a robot in Omniverse Cosmos, and will generate all these physically plausible futures, and the robots will learn from them, and then they'll come into the physical world, and you know, it's exactly the same. A future where you're just surrounded by robots is for certain, and I'm just excited about having my own R2-D2. And of course, R2-D2 wouldn't be quite the can that it is and roll around. It'll be R2-D2.
C-3PO.
Yeah, it'll probably be a different physical embodiment, but it's always R2. You know, so my R2 is going to go around with me. Sometimes it's in my smart glasses. Sometimes it's in my phone. Sometimes it's in my PC. It's in my car. So R2 is with me all the time, including, you know, when I get home, you know, where I left a physical version of R2, and you know, whatever that version happens to be, you know, we'll interact with R2. And so I think the idea that we'll have our own R2-D2 for our entire life, and it grows up with us, that's a certainty now. Yeah.
How would you advise them to prepare or to think about this moment that they're in personally with respect to how these tools are actually going to affect them?
Well, there are several ways to reason about the future that we're creating. One way to reason about it is suppose the work that you do continues to be important, but the effort by which you do it went from, you know, being a week long to almost instantaneous. You know, that the effort of drudgery basically goes to zero. What is the implication of that? This is very similar to what would change if all of a sudden we had highways in this country. And that kind of happened, you know, in the last industrial revolution. All of a sudden we have interstate highways. And when you have interstate highways, what happens? Well, you know, suburbs start to be created, and all of a sudden, you know, distribution of goods from east to west is no longer a concern, and all of a sudden gas stations start cropping up on highways, and fast food restaurants show up, and you know, so on. Some motels show up because people, you know, traveling across the state, across the country, just wanted to stay somewhere for a few hours or overnight, and so all of a sudden, new economies and new capabilities, new economies. What would happen if video conference made it possible for us to see each other without having to travel anymore? That all of a sudden it's actually okay to work further away from home and from work and live further away, and so you ask yourself kind of these questions. You know, what would happen if I have a software programmer with me all the time, and whatever it is I can dream up, the software programmer could write for me. What would that do? What would happen if I just had a seed of an idea and I rough it out, and all of a sudden a prototype of a production was put in front of me, and how would that change my life, and how would that change my opportunity, and what does it free me to be able to do, and so on and so forth. And so I think that the next decade, intelligence, not for everything, but for some things, would basically become superhuman. And so I can tell you exactly what that feels like. I'm surrounded by superhuman people, super intelligence from my perspective, because they're the best in the world at what they do. And they do what they do way better than I can do it. And I'm surrounded by thousands of them. And yet, it never one day caused me to think all of a sudden I'm no longer necessary. It actually empowers me and gives me the confidence to go tackle more and more ambitious things. And so suppose now everybody is surrounded by these super AIs that are very good at specific things, or good at some of the things. What would that make you feel? Well, it's going to empower you. It's going to make you feel confident. And I'm pretty sure you probably use ChatGPT and AI, and I feel more empowered today, more confident to learn something today. The knowledge of almost any particular field, the barriers to that understanding it has been reduced. And I have a personal tutor with me all of the time, and so I think that feeling should be universal. And if there's one thing that I would encourage everybody to do, is to go get yourself an AI tutor right away. And that AI tutor could, of course, just teach you things, anything you like, help you program, help you write, help you analyze, help you think, help you reason. All of those things is going to really make you feel empowered. And I think that's going to be our future. We're going to become superhumans, not because we're going to become superhumans because we have super AIs.